Elena Ramirez, 28, navigated life like a tightrope walker, balancing her role as a single mom to her 5-year-old daughter, Mia, with her demanding job at Hargrove Marketing. Her long, dark hair framed a face that hid exhaustion behind a warm smile. Widowed at 23 after her husband's tragic car accident, Elena poured her heart into raising Mia, scraping by in a cramped Brooklyn apartment. Her job as an administrative assistant was her lifeline: health insurance, a steady paycheck, and just enough to keep Mia in daycare. But every day was a battle, rushing to drop Mia off at 7 a.m., dodging subway delays, and staying late to prove her worth. She dreamed of starting her own graphic design business, sketching logos on napkins during lunch breaks, but dreams felt like luxuries she couldn't afford. Alexander Hargrove, 35, was the opposite, a man who seemed to have it all. Sharp suits, a penthouse overlooking Central Park, and a reputation for ruthlessness that made employees quiver. His marriage to Victoria, a glamorous socialite, was the envy of Manhattan's elite, their photo perfect on his desk. But behind closed doors, their home was a battlefield of silence and resentment. Victoria cared more for charity galas than her husband, leaving Alex to drown his loneliness in late nights at the office. There, he noticed Elena, her quiet efficiency, the way she remembered everyone's coffee order, her laughter that lit up the break room. She was a spark in his gray world, and he couldn't look away. Their story ignited at a company retreat in the Hamptons, where the salty air and bonfire glow loosened inhibitions. Paired for a team-building project, Elena and Alex stayed up late, brainstorming under a blanket of stars. She shared stories of Mia's kindergarten antics, her voice soft with love but heavy with worry about bills. Alex, usually guarded, opened up about his strained marriage, admitting he hadn't felt alive in years. Their eyes met, lingering too long. A brush of hands turned into a kiss, urgent and forbidden, by the ocean's edge. "We can't," Elena whispered, pulling back, her heart racing. But Alex's touch was electric, and the pull was too strong. Back in the city, their affair began: secret lunches in tucked-away diners, stolen glances in meetings, and late-night texts that buzzed with danger and desire. For months, they danced on the edge of ruin. Alex became Elena's escape, showering her with care she hadn't known since her husband's death. He slipped her cash for Mia's school supplies, left a delicate silver necklace on her desk with a note, "For Mia's birthday." Elena felt seen, her heart thawing after years of grief. She fell hard, believing Alex's whispered promises in his office after hours: "I'll leave Victoria. We'll be together." But doubts crept in. He'd silence his phone when Victoria called, his eyes darting away. Elena ignored the red flags, clinging to the dream of a family, her love blinding her to the cracks in his vows. The affair reached a fever pitch one night after a high-stakes client pitch. Elena stayed late, perfecting slides, her dedication shining. Alex joined her, their banter turning to flirtation, then to passion. On his mahogany desk, surrounded by papers and ambition, they crossed a line no turning back from. Days later, in her tiny bathroom, Elena stared at 2 pink lines on a pregnancy test. Her heart soared and sank, joy for the life inside her, terror for what it meant. Another child, with a married man. She resolved to keep it, hoping it would force Alex's hand. But whispers of layoffs swirled at work. The firm was bleeding money, and her name was on the chopping block. The confrontation came like a storm. Summoned to Alex's office for a performance review, Elena clutched her folder of achievements, her palms sweaty. Alex sat behind his desk, his face unreadable. "Elena, we're downsizing. I'm sorry, but we have to let you go." His voice was flat, his eyes avoiding hers. Panic surged. She saw Mia's face, the unpaid bills, the baby she hadn't told him about. Tears spilled as she blurted, "Please don't fire me, sir. I'm pregnant." The air stilled. Alex's jaw dropped, his eyes searching hers. "Is it mine?" he asked, voice barely a whisper. She nodded, sobbing, and his expression shifted, shock melting into something softer, almost tender. He stood, closing the door, and pulled her into a hug. "I'm so sorry," he murmured, his voice thick. "I'll take care of you." In that moment, Alex's world tilted. Memories of his own fractured childhood flooded back, his father's absence, his mother's tears. He couldn't abandon Elena, not now. But Victoria loomed, her suspicions growing. Divorce would cost him his fortune, his reputation. He promised Elena a transfer to save her job, buying time, but the secrecy weighed heavy. Elena left the office that day, her heart a tangle of relief and fear. At home, she confided in her best friend, Sarah, over coffee. "He's married, Elena," Sarah warned, stirring her latte. "This is a disaster." Elena defended him, recounting how Alex had booked her a doctor's appointment, paid for prenatal vitamins. "He cares," she insisted, but doubt gnawed when she saw Alex and Victoria at a company gala, arm in arm, smiling for photos. Alex wrestled with his own demons. In secret therapy sessions, he admitted the affair had rekindled his soul, but the pregnancy changed everything. He dreamed of a life with Elena and their child, yet feared losing his empire. One evening, he visited Elena's apartment, meeting Mia for the first time. The little girl, with pigtails and a gap-toothed grin, hugged him, calling him Mr. Alex. They played tea party, Elena watching with tears as Alex poured imaginary tea, his laughter genuine. This was the father she'd always wanted for Mia, for her unborn child. But reality intruded. Victoria's name flashed on his phone during a secret dinner, and Elena's heart sank. Was his care love, or just guilt? As her pregnancy progressed, Elena struggled. Morning sickness hit hard, and colleagues noticed her glow, whispering about favoritism when Alex lightened her workload. At home, she wrote in her journal, "I begged him not to fire me, but now I'm begging for his heart." Alex, meanwhile, showed devotion in small ways, delivering groceries, texting to check on her nausea. But tension spiked when Elena overheard him planning a romantic getaway with Victoria to fix things. Betrayal stung. She confronted him in his office, voice shaking. "Are you playing me?" His eyes pleaded as he swore it was a lie to keep Victoria calm, but trust frayed. The paparazzi's flash lit up the internet like a wildfire. Photos of Elena and Alex leaving the clinic splashed across tabloids. "CEO's secret affair," screamed the headlines, and Elena's world spun into chaos. Her phone buzzed with notifications, co-workers' whispers turned to open stares, and her inbox filled with venomous messages calling her a homewrecker. At Hargrove Marketing, the air crackled with gossip, her job, already shaky, dangled by a thread. But Alex's reaction stunned her. In a boardroom packed with suits, he stood firm, announcing Elena's promotion to a new project team, a clever cover to protect her. His eyes met hers across the room, steady and resolute, a silent promise of care amid the storm. Yet, Elena wondered, was this love, or just damage control? Victoria's wrath hit like a hurricane. She stormed into Alex's office, her designer heels clicking like gunfire. "How could you? With your assistant?" she hissed, her voice slicing through the glass walls. Alex didn't flinch, confessing the affair and the pregnancy in a low, steady tone. Victoria's face twisted, hurt, then fury. By noon, divorce papers were filed, her lawyers demanding half his fortune. The news spread, and Elena faced the fallout alone in her apartment, Mia asleep in the next room. Her family, once her rock, called her a disgrace, their voices cold over the phone. "Why, Elena?" her mother asked. "You're better than this." Tears fell as Elena clutched her growing belly, whispering to her unborn child, I'll make this right for you. Alex stepped up in ways Elena hadn't expected. He moved her and Mia to a safer apartment in a quiet neighborhood, paying the lease up front. A nanny arrived to help with Mia, giving Elena time to breathe. At night, he'd show up with takeout, sitting cross-legged on her couch, asking about her day. "I'm here," he'd say, his hand brushing hers, and for a moment, Elena believed him. But trust was a fragile thread. At work, colleagues iced her out, assuming her promotion was favoritism. She confronted Alex one evening, her voice sharp. "Is this pity, or do you love me?" His eyes softened, and he pulled her close. "I love you, Elena. I was wrong to cheat, but this baby, our baby, is my chance to be better." His words warmed her, but doubt lingered like a shadow. The legal battle escalated, a storm of subpoenas and depositions. Victoria's lawyers summoned Elena, forcing her to relive the affair in a sterile conference room. "How long were you sleeping with my husband?" the attorney demanded. Elena's voice shook as she answered, her cheeks burning with shame, but Alex sat beside her, his hand squeezing hers under the table. He fought for their unborn child, hiring a lawyer to secure his rights. In a quiet moment after court, he knelt before her in her new apartment, his voice raw. "I messed up, Elena. But let me make it right, for you, for Mia, for our baby." Tears streamed down her face, she nodded, a spark of forgiveness igniting. Could they rebuild from this wreckage? The world wasn't kind. Online trolls branded Elena a gold digger, while Alex was painted as a cheating tycoon. But pockets of support emerged. Women on forums shared stories of their own messy love stories, some even reaching out to Elena. Inspired, she started an anonymous blog, pouring out her fears and hopes as a pregnant single mom entangled in scandal. "I begged him not to fire me," she wrote, "but now I'm begging for a future." Her words resonated, gaining thousands of followers. Alex read every post, his heart aching at her vulnerability. One night, he surprised her with a picnic basket and a promise: not marriage, not yet, but partnership. "We'll face this together," he said, and Elena felt the first stirrings of hope. Her pregnancy brought new challenges. High blood pressure landed her in the hospital, monitors beeping as Alex held her hand through the night. Doctors ordered bed rest, and Alex insisted she quit work, covering her bills without hesitation. "You're more important than any job," he said, his voice firm. Mia, now calling him Daddy Alex, climbed onto his lap during visits, her giggles filling the room. Elena watched, her heart swelling but wary. He'd been married when this started. Could a man who cheated be trusted? Flashbacks haunted Alex too, his father's abandonment, his mother's struggles. He read parenting books, determined to break the cycle, his care for Elena and Mia growing fiercer. The divorce finalized, costing Alex millions but freeing him from Victoria's grip. At a press conference, he faced the world, his voice steady. "I hurt people I loved, but I'm committed to my child and to making amends." Elena watched on her laptop, pride mixing with caution. They moved in together, platonically at first, focusing on the baby. Trust rebuilt slowly, shared dinners, late-night talks about their fears. Elena taught him to open up, her warmth melting his guarded heart. He showed her stability, proving his love in quiet moments, like fixing Mia's broken toy or rubbing Elena's feet after a long day. The birth came during a thunderstorm, rain pounding as Alex sped Elena to the hospital, her contractions fierce. In the delivery room, she gripped his hand, begging for strength. "You've got this," he whispered, his eyes locked on hers. Their son, Lucas, arrived with a wail, healthy and perfect. Alex cut the cord, tears streaming as he placed the baby in Elena's arms. "Our son," he said, his voice breaking. Mia met her brother, her tiny hand touching his cheek, and Elena felt whole for the first time in years. The family, born from chaos, found its center in that hospital room life after Lucas tested them. Sleepless nights, diaper changes, and Mia's jealous tantrums stretched their patience. But Alex was there, rocking Lucas at 3 a.m., letting Elena sleep, or reading Mia bedtime stories. They named their son Lucas, meaning light, a symbol of hope after darkness. Elena forgave Alex fully, their love now rooted in trust, not just passion. He started a foundation for single mothers, inspired by Elena's strength, and she launched her graphic design business, her sketches turning into reality with his support.